The Fly Agaric Mushroom. Written, directed, and produced by Reverend Dr. Dikki Jo Mullen. In this video, Dr. Mullen talks about the red-dotted fairytale mushroom of Wonderland. This is the treasured, lucky symbol which marks the gateway to other realms.
This is Dikki Jo Mullen, astrologer and parapsychologist in Orlando, Florida, with some thoughts about those red and white dots we see so often at Yuletide. The theme of the red and white dots you see in Yuletide or Christmas cards like this one so often. And they have a beautiful, beautiful history with the Fly Agaric Mushroom. That's the Wonderland mushroom of your favorite fairy tales. The red and white dots make a beautiful pattern on the cap, and the Fly Agaric or Amanita muscaria mushroom is the most easily recognized mushroom in the whole world. It's treasured as a lucky symbol, which marks the gateway to fairyland, the restless world and realms of nymphs, fey ones, elves, goblins, and pixies. Scholars identify it as the mushrooms Alice likely ate before experiencing her adventure in Wonderland, in the famous story by Lewis Carroll. The trademark red and white polka dots are repeated in illustrations always. This same motif goes to ceramic figurines like my salt and peppers there, and also to a variety of other items including jewelry. And I even have a rock garden. I created these when I was on vacation in Michigan along the shores of Lake Huron. There's kind of a culture there of doing artistic paintings on rocks and selling them to tourists. But I made a rock garden of all Fly Agaric mushrooms. There they are. And they're kind of like a little family of fantasy and magic that came home with me from my vacation. There's a larger one. And I did the illustration while thinking of the mushrooms once late at night. The Fly Agaric mushrooms are easily found throughout the world, growing in the temperate regions of the northern hemisphere. They're iconic in popular culture. Video games and drawings feature them. Most of you have seen this traditional toadstool throughout your entire life, if you think about it. It appears in many, many different places. It appears almost magically at first as a small and beautiful white egg emerging from the soil as a parasite fungus feeding upon the roots of birch, pine, and other kinds of trees. Over time it can grow to over a foot in height and develops a cap which can flatten out to platter size. Perhaps it really is a dinner plate for the pixies and the wee folk, because it's acquired a reputation for serving so much that is wry and mysterious. It is toxic, but it isn't the most deadly of mushrooms. Fly is included in the name because it's actually been used as an insecticide. Pieces of the mushroom scattered in a pail of milk will eliminate the flying pests, attracting them in to be drowned. In fact, the botanical name Amanita muscaria derives from the Latin word musca for sky and fly. Fly in the sky. And I'm not high either. It's just the thought of the charming mushrooms, as in the common household fly. If eaten, the Fly Agaric mushroom produces hallucinations, psychosis, sometimes a comatose state. It usually isn't fatal, though, unless it's consumed in really large quantities. The shamans of Asia and Russia would boil the caps, producing a tea, or would powder them to pieces when dried to be compounded into a kind of a vitamin powder. The holy men would imbibe the finished project and experience euphoria. And The urine was collected by the followers of the shamans and drunk to produce a less dangerous high. The toxins were filtered through the shaman's liver and then were eliminated into a less potent liquid. The reindeer of Lapland love eating the fly agaric mushrooms. Reindeer herders will barter with travelers from further south to acquire bags of the red mushrooms to use as a way of managing their animals, since it's too cold in the polar regions for the fungus to grow there. Reports are that the reindeer will prance in delight upon enjoying this treat. Who does that remind you of? The reindeer and Santa Claus's sleigh. The herders collect the reindeer's urine and then they will drink it after the toxins are filtered through the animals' livers. Sources speculate again that Santa's flying reindeer, led by the red-nosed Rudolph, really describe the lingering effects of the fly agaric mushroom. The Koryaks of Siberia believe that the mushroom possesses a spirit, a personality. They give it a name. It's Wapak. The myth is that long ago, Big Raven called upon the Wapak for help. Raven ate the mushrooms and felt strong and mighty and completed his task. Big Raven, blessed by Wapak, the fly agaric mushroom, was telling everyone to grow on the earth forever, meaning the mushroom family. The Koryaks still offer the mushrooms to the very frail elderly people. They have a role in hospice in that part of the world. The Wapak spirit, it is believed, will guide the elderly toward a peaceful transition into the afterworld, toward death. It's kind of a death with dignity mushroom. In parts of Europe, Scotland, Ireland, and the various Celtic islands, these great and mysterious mushrooms are linked in many ways to pure magic. They're credited with offering protection from evil entities. At Beltane or May Day, the dried mushrooms are used to kindle fires. This results in brilliantly colored flares. The colors of the fly agaric can vary regionally and at different seasons. Sometimes the cap will take on an orange or a deep yellow coloration, while the dots on the surface are misshapen warts, which can appear as creamy, yellowy white dots. Nevertheless, it's always beautiful in its very own way. Although the fly agaric is completely legal to possess, experimenting with it for recreational use is very unwise and not recommended. It contains ibotenic acid, a psychoactive drug, and powerful neurotoxin, which can cause lesions on the brain. And it's hard enough to cope in the world if you have a normal brain, let alone one with mushroom lesions on it. So, be wise and join the wise to be content to enjoy the aesthetic beauty of this intriguing mushroom, but leave it for the fey folk and the reindeer as a menu item of choice.